Hello and a warm welcome to the programme. I'm Millicent Walker here in Lagos. Residents of flood-stricken towns in Italy's northern Emilia-Romagna region are struggling to save their belongings and homes after torrential rain triggering floods and landslides swept inhabited areas, killing at least 9 people. Civil Protection Minister Nello Musumeci said some areas had received half their average annual rainfall in just 36 hours, causing rivers to burst their banks, sending water cascading through towns and submerging thousands of acres of farmland. Authorities say flooding had hit 37 towns and communities. Around 120 landslides have been registered. Government officials say tax and mortgage payments would be suspended for flood-hit regions during the emergency. Meanwhile, thunderstorms lashed parts of Pakistan's central province of Punjab, killing at least 8 people. According to local reports, most of the people, including women and children, were killed in rain-related accidents like collapsed roofs and walls in remote villages. Footage from emergency service rescue shows workers moving bodies at a village in the city of Chinoit. According to the Pakistan Meteorological Department's website, rain is likely to persist in the upper and central parts of the country, and that dust storms and windstorms are expected in parts of Pakistani Kashmir and Punjab. We're staying in Pakistan to the politics now. Former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan, in a Twitter post, said it is probably his last tweet before his next arrest, adding that police had surrounded his house in the eastern city of Lahore. Mr. Khan said he expected to be rearrested soon after the government warned him to hand over supporters whom it blamed for attacks on the army. The former leader was arrested by the army on the 9th of May on graft allegations, which he denies, triggering a wave of violence that has deepened political instability in the South Asian nation of 220 million. The country's Supreme Court ordered Khan's release on bail last Friday. Pakistan has also been facing its worst ever economic crisis with a long delay in securing critical IMF funding. Well, joining me now is Sarah Zaman, VOA's Pakistan Bureau Chief. Hi, Sarah. It's good to see you. Speak to us about the latest development on former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan. Has he been rearrested again?
Well, thank you very much. The tweet that he wrote, it so far has not come true because he has not been arrested again. In fact, today I was able to do an interview with him via Skype. And he sounded confident, but I also asked him, what does he think the next 24 hours will bring? And he said he doesn't know. So the sword of that, arrest is still hanging over his head. And we don't know if it'll happen or not because the authorities in the Punjab province had given him a 24-hour notice to give up what the authorities were saying were trained terrorists that were holed up in his personal residence in Lahore. And after those 24 hours, no operation was conducted, nothing big happened, although, again, we were expecting something to happen. That didn't happen, but authorities are saying that they have arrested about 8 or so suspected people who escaped the residence, and that they're still keeping an eye and they're going to arrest more people. So we didn't see a big operation happen at the residence. There is, again, no information about who those so-called terrorists are. And Khan doesn't know what's going to happen, but he's opened the doors of his house for the media so the media could come and see where these so-called terrorists were. And he believes that that is what thwarted this operation, the so-called or the expected operation that the authorities had indicated that they might conduct because they had given a 24-hour notice.
And Sarah, you spoke to him, like you mentioned earlier. What was, his voice, his tone like? Was he afraid? Was he strong-willed? And, are there fears? Are there certain fears for him to feel that he might be rearrested again? What did he sound like?
Well, he's a very confident and strong-willed man. He has been in the public eye for decades at this point and has dealt with a lot of ups and downs. So he sounded very confident. He sounded relaxed. And something that has worked in his favor is that every time the authorities have tried to come after him, it hasn't really worked out for them. And in fact, the opposition to any action by the state has been very visible, very strong. So Khan, being the most popular leader in Pakistan, knows that he has the public support, and that is what's giving him a lot of confidence.
And also, we know that his last arrest triggered supporters causing violence to erupt across the country. What's the mood like? Are there any clashes whatsoever?
There are no clashes, but again, if there was something that were to happen at his residence, it's hard to say that things would stay peaceful. Now, one thing that we have noticed in Khan's rhetoric is that at one point he was very openly criticizing the military's top leadership, especially the army chief. Since then, since his arrest was declared unlawful, he has struck somewhat of a conciliatory tone. And now he's saying that, he's not against the army. And it's also coming on the heels of the fact that his supporters in the violent clashes were also, they were among the people who breached military installations, which is a very unusual thing in Pakistan. And even when I was speaking to him today, I asked him, how does he see that his relationship with the military is going to improve after so openly criticizing the powerful military chief? And he said this time that he has no problem with the military chief, and that it's the military chief who somehow has a problem with him, and that Khan has tried to reach out to the powerful army chief, but he hasn't been able to. So he's again trying to reach a softer tone and trying to make it clear that he's not against the military, and that he even wants to reconcile, or at least has tried to reconcile with the army chief, but his efforts have not paid off.
We also understand that Bushra Bibi Khan, the wife of the former Prime Minister, is facing corruption charges in the same case that led to his arrest. What else do we know now?
So basically, she's a trustee of that university where this whole case comes out of. It's a university that received a land grant, and that's why her name is also involved in it. But I have to also mention here that ever since Imran Khan was removed from office, we have been hearing that Bushra Bibi and her friends were also engaged in a lot of corruption. This is the narrative from the state. This is the narrative from the government. And so through this case, they are sort of, trying to build on what they have been saying in the past, that she and her friends were engaged in a lot of financial corruption. They were engaged in trying to appoint people that they thought were friendly, or wherever they needed, appointments that could serve them well. They were engaged in that. So this comes as, a part of that long string of allegations.
Is there anyone, perhaps experts, some people in Pakistan who feel that, all of these coming up now, playing out, are sort of strategies and efforts to push Mr. Khan out of the political system?
See, Khan is the first and the most prominent person who believes that all of this is happening in an effort to somehow disqualify him, or at least diminish him so much that he either isn't able to take part in the next elections, or his party is just so weak and diminished that maybe it won't be as much of a credible force. And most of his supporters, I would say, do believe that the state is engaging in a variety of tactics to diminish either his popularity or his reach.
And perhaps finally, because we are hearing reports of the weather and flooding, we also know the experience that Pakistan has gone through in the past. Is that in any way dampening or affecting the politics in Pakistan?
Well, I should tell you, I was outside last night in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, when we also started getting really, really strong windstorm. It was rather scary because I saw a tree fall right in front of me on a car, and then I had to call somebody to come and get me. So things got pretty scary, but no, it's not really having any effect on the political atmosphere. Pakistan, as you also mentioned at the top of your show, that Pakistan is dealing with a deep economic crisis. Pakistan is also dealing with resurgence of terrorism. But the political instability is just going full throttle along with all of this. And in fact, many experts blame that Pakistan's economic crisis is also not being handled as well, simply because of the political instability in Pakistan. So the weather isn't affecting the politics as much as the politics is affecting the condition of the country.
All right, Sarah, thank you. And do stay safe, please. VOA's Pakistan Bureau Chief, Sarah Zaman, live for us. Thanks again.
Thank you.
We'll go over to Thailand now, where the leader of the Progressive Move Forward Party, Peter Lamjorienrat, says he is confident of building more support and being able to form a stable and balanced government. He made this known at a news conference after securing a stunning victory in Thailand's election this week.
My coalition is firmly taking shape. There's momentum, there's progress, And we also have a very clear roadmap from today until the day I become Prime Minister. As you can see, that we have a lot of momentum and my coalition is taking shape. Whether we need more seats or numbers, that depends on the negotiation team that I have set up. And the goals of the negotiation team, first of all, is to find out the optimum number that gives me stability, as well as to make sure that we can work as a team.
And Montana Governor Greg Gianforte has signed legislation to ban the Chinese-owned TikTok from operating in the state, making it the first U.S. state to ban the popular short video app. Montana will make it unlawful for Google and Apple's app stores to offer the TikTok app within its borders. TikTok, which has over 150 million American users, is facing growing calls from U.S. lawmakers and state officials to ban the app nationwide over concerns about potential Chinese government influence over the platform.
TikTok is a national security threat. This app steals information and data from users, and its ability to share that data with the Chinese Communist Party is unacceptable and infringes on Montana's rights to privacy.
Over to Australia, where the Foreign Minister Penny Wong reaffirmed Canberra's strategic security partnership with the Philippines after a bilateral meeting with her counterpart in Manila during a joint news conference with Philippine Foreign Minister Enrique Manalo. Wong told reporters that Australia vows to remain committed to working closely with the Philippines for a peaceful, open, stable, prosperous region. As part of enhanced cooperation between the two nations, Australia will also provide drone equipment, training and other technologies to strengthen the Philippines' marine awareness and protection capabilities. A New York taxi driver who said he picked up Britain's Prince Harry, his wife Meghan and her mother on Tuesday night has described the royals as looking nervous and scared as news photographers surrounded the vehicle to take pictures. Beg your pardon. Harry's spokesperson said an incident took place involving a ring of highly aggressive paparazzi and half a dozen cars with blacked-out windows, driving dangerously and putting the lives of the couple and Doria Ragland in danger, adding that the pursuit lasted over 2 hours. We'll bring you that story shortly, but still to come on the programme. Kenyan President William Ruto once again calls out the two warring Sudanese generals, urging them to stop the fighting that has entered its second month. We have details in a moment. Welcome back. We are following the latest in Sudan, and Kenyan President William Ruto has once again called out the two warring Sudanese generals, urging them to stop the fighting that has entered its second month. Intense battles in the capital Khartoum and its sister cities of Bari and Omdurman have raged despite Saudi and US brokered talks between the army and the paramilitary rapid support forces in Jeddah, aimed at securing humanitarian access and a ceasefire. The Kenyan leader said military capacity was for battling criminals and terrorists and not for fighting children and women. Mr. Ruto, however, blamed African states for lacking the capacity to stop the war in Sudan. Nearly 1,000 people have been killed and more than 1 million displaced in Sudan since battles between Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and his former deputy Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, who leads a paramilitary force, erupted in April. Meanwhile, anti-aircraft guns and drones could be heard in the Sudanese capital, Khartoum. Video posted by the RSF shows fighters around the Air Defense Forces command site in the capital, shooting in the air and walking around destroyed military vehicles. The Sudanese army has been using airstrikes and shelling in a bid to root out RSF fighters who are entrenched in residential areas of Khartoum. Across Sudan, the fighting has uprooted around 1 million people, 220,000 of whom have fled into neighboring states. Regional Director for the International Committee of the Red Cross, Patrick Youssef, said the agreement signed between warring parties in Sudan last week to protect civilians has failed to silence the guns. The deal was intended to allow safe passage for people leaving battle zones, protect relief workers, and prevent civilians being used as human shields. But according to Mr. Youssef, it has not brought about tangible change. He adds that allowing Khartoum Airport to accept humanitarian aircraft to help Sudanese civilians would be an immense game changer. He said there were injured people in Darfur who had no access to hospitals or basic services. The United Nations World Food Programme is rapidly scaling up its emergency operations in Sudan every day, reaching thousands more people whose lives have been upended by the ongoing fighting. The WFP airlift carrying 30 metric tons of humanitarian cargo arrived Port Sudan Airport, the first shipment to arrive by air since conflict broke out on April 15. So far, WFP has fed more than 300,000 people inside Sudan. The WFP is ramping up to assist 4.9 million vulnerable people in Sudan and thousands more who have fled to neighboring countries.
People are leaving Khartoum because there's no food, no water, no electricity, and there is very high levels of insecurity. People are leaving. I was in a refugee reception centre yesterday on the border where people have walked for 4, 5, 6 days from Khartoum. I met a woman, Rebecca. She'd left with 21 children. She was sitting in this reception site with virtually nothing, only what she'd been able to carry. And she didn't really know what comes next. WFP is providing hot meals. WFP will continue to support refugees as and when they arrive. But the future is very bleak for those people. It is bleak for Sudan, and it is bleak for the region.
The political advisor of the paramilitary group Rapid Support Force, Ezziat Youssef, said that they are committed to the peace talks in Saudi Arabia. Fighting in Sudan began just over a month ago after disputes over plans for the RSF to join the country's army and the future chain of command under an internationally backed deal for a political transition towards civilian rule. Izzat spoke after he met with South Sudanese President Salva Kiir, saying that the RSF welcomed efforts by the neighbouring country to help bring an end to the conflict. He denied allegations that the group was using civilians as a shield. He also blamed the persistent clashes on the Sudan armed forces for breaking a recent ceasefire. And we're back to the story of Britain's royals, where a New York taxi driver said he picked up Britain's Prince Harry and his wife Meghan and her mother Tuesday night. He described the royals as looking nervous and scared as news photographers surrounded the vehicle to take pictures. Harry's spokesperson said an accident took place involving a ring of highly aggressive paparazzi in half a dozen cars with blacked out windows, driving dangerously and putting the lives of the couple and Doria Ragland in danger. He added that the pursuit lasted over 2 hours.
I was going down 67th Street, East 67. I see a guy in a suit hail me, and he goes, "Listen, are you empty?" I go, "Yes." And he goes, "Are you looking for a fare?" And I was like, "Of course." And he goes, "Pull over to the right." So I pull over to the right, and few minutes later, I see 3 people hop out of a black car right into my cab, and it was Prince Harry and Meghan, and there was another woman with them as well. And then as we drive straight, and as we're going straight, garbage truck was blocking us. He was picking up trash, and all of a sudden, paparazzis came out of nowhere and just started flashing, taking pictures, and and they didn't stop until the security got out and said, "Move, move, move." And then the garbage truck got out of the way, and the paparazzi were following the car. And Prince Harry and his wife and the other lady, they were nervous and they looked scared. Prince Harry sat behind me, Meghan sat in the middle, and the other lady sat on the left. Paparazzis, they just came out of nowhere and just started taking pictures and flashing. It was like a light show all of a sudden. And they were just about to give me the location. They never gave me the location where they were going. And then the security guard told me, circle back. As we are circling back, you see the paparazzi's car following my car. My feelings were normal, but I'm sure their feelings were more intense because his mom, Princess Diana, died in a crash running away from the paparazzis. So I think their emotions must have been higher.
Meanwhile, a monarchy expert has said claims by Britain's Prince Harry and his wife that they were involved in a near-catastrophic car chase highlights the real battle between the royals and the media. Dr. Alice Hunt, associate professor at the University of Southampton, said that the incident was serious enough for the royal couple to make a claim. The prince has long spoken out about his anger at press intrusion, which he blames for the death of his mother, Princess Diana, who was killed when her limousine crashed as it sped away from chasing paparazzi in Paris in 1997.
There was clearly an event that is being now trying to be kind of managed and calmed down by the authorities in New York. It is also possible that for Harry and Meghan, that this is an event which is, even if it wasn't as long and as dangerous as other people have perceived, for them it was enough for them to make a serious claim. And this for them is, calling things out before it gets too late, I think, which is what he's always tried to do with the media, is say, look, this is too much. Who do we believe here? The NYPD and the mayor have, obviously it's in their interests to play down what happened. This was dangerous. There was a threat to the public, is the claim. And on the other hand, it's possible to believe that the Sussexes would possibly exaggerate. Might they? This is a risky strategy. But for them, this is really serious. They make a lot of claims about the intrusion into their lives and the stress and trauma this causes, but also the danger that this causes, perhaps for themselves, but to others. This has become the real battle that I think Harry wants to win about the media. I think a lot has been made about the conflict with his family and the rift that has caused. But I think underlying it all has been that he wants to bring the media to account. And there's a really complicated relationship between the monarchy and the media. He doesn't want to let this go. And I think he sees that as a way of vindicating what happened to his mother, to Diana. He's sort of making it his goal. It's a big battle to take on. I have some sympathy with him wanting to take on certain kinds of media, certain kinds of intrusion, certain kinds of stories. But it's very tricky when they also rely on the media to tell this story.
Over in South Africa, where the country's state power utility Eskom says it may have to increase power cuts to an unprecedented level this winter as the country grapples with its worst power crisis on record. Many households and businesses in Africa's most industrialized economy are already facing scheduled electricity outages of more than 10 hours a day, largely due to breakdowns in Eskom's ailing fleet of coal power stations. The gap between supply and demand is expected to increase in the coming winter months as people turn on their heaters, putting additional pressure on the grid.
We're going into this winter with 3,000 megawatts less capacity than we had during the last winter. The 3 units of Kusile plus the 1 unit of Kuburg. However, the focus during this winter, first and foremost, must be the performance of the generation fleet around the energy availability factor.
We may have up to stage 8 load shedding if our interventions to reduce demand and improve reliability are not effective. So it's a risk-based kind of assessment. And what we are indicating is that the base case is up to 15,000 megawatts, in which case, as you will note, according to the table, we're going to have load shedding ranging between stage 3 and stage 5. National control all the way down to the municipalities that we manage supply and demand. If we go up to 18,000 megawatts of breakdowns, there is a likelihood that we would be at stage 7, load shedding, and potentially even stage 8, especially when you go into July and August when demand is higher. So this is going to be a very difficult winter. We're
heading out of South Africa now to many Barbie lovers who the pop-up Malibu Cafe in New York is a go-to spot to feel young again. New York residents, both old and young, couldn't contain their excitement as they flocked to the Barbie Cafe to have a great time and create enjoyable memories. Take a look.
Anisha Porter took her 6-year-old daughter, Ariel Jones, to the opening of the pop-up Malibu Barbie Cafe in New York City's historic South Street Seaport to celebrate the special occasion.
So today is my birthday. So we came for my birthday, and my daughter loves Barbie, so we decided to bring her here. I like pink. Contrary to what other people may think, I like pink a lot, but I've been into Barbie since I was a little girl. I've always collected Barbies. When they had Toys R Us in Manhattan with the Barbie house, we used to go in there a lot, so I'm happy to be here.
The sand! The sand! The sand is good! I want to sleep here for the rest of my life and collect all the Barbies, and I want to go wherever I want. That's it.
The 70s-inspired venue offers MasterChef semi-finalist Becky Brown's all-day brunch menu items such as the Beach Burger, Pacific Paradise, Rainbow Pancakes, and Golden Coast Cauliflower Bowl, as well as a life-size Barbie toy box where customers pose for photos.
So the Malibu Barbie Cafe is a fully immersive bar and restaurant inspired by all things Barbie. We really wanted to bring the world of Barbie to life through all of your 5 senses: touch, smell, taste, everything, through the lens of Barbie, really celebrating summer and creating an environment that was both family-friendly but fun for adults too.
Corrigan also said the response to the Malibu Barbie Cafe has been overwhelmingly positive and successful.
I wanted to come here because I really love Barbie and my favorite color is pink.
Well, I love Barbie, and we're in New York for the week, so it seemed like a really cool place to be, and I really love Barbie, so wanted to experience it fully. I mean, I obviously played with her when I was a little kid, so it's just like now that I'm older, she's such an icon, and it's Barbie.
The cafe will be open 7 days a week through September 15th, can seat over 8,000 customers every week.
Yay for all the Barbie fans. And that's our program this evening. Thank you for watching. I'm Millicent Walker.